Let's bring in Judy Wilson, if we can. Chief Judy Wilson. She is the Secretary-Treasurer of the Union of BC Indian Chiefs. She's joining us from our studios in Vancouver. In fact, not too far away, as you know, Judy, from where Melanie is. Your read on what we're seeing here. Walk us through it from your viewpoint.
Well, I think the important thing to identify right away with is why is this happening? And it's because of the lack of leadership. Both Trudeau and Horgan are showing the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs. In previous interviews, I've stated that very clearly. This is widespread because of the forced removal of the matriarchs and the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs from their homelands in regards to their outstanding land rights. And the issue is, no free, prior, informed consent. And it was really simple what the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs are saying in their letters and in their emails and their communications, that they need to meet nation to nation with Trudeau, and they need Horgan to meet directly with them. I know there's issues and reasons Horgan said he couldn't, or he tried to, but we can't accept those. He's got to show some real leadership at this time, and this is the widespread things that are happening with the Delta Port, Vancouver Port, at the Victoria Parliament, and I can just see it continuing, and it's really clear what everybody's asking for. So it's no confusion on what the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs are saying, and it has to happen right away.
Now, what about the division, Judy, if I can ask you about that, within the First Nation itself, the hereditary chiefs versus many in the rest of the community who are on side with this project?
Well, you got to realize in the Delgamuukw decision in 1997, it already there's a recognition of title and the recognition of the hereditary chiefs in that decision. So when Minister Scott Fraser was saying he's confused about that, I just said you got to go back and read the 1997 decision, and you got to be able to. He himself, when he was critic, said that as well. He recognized the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs, and he just needs to go out there. Horgan needs to go out there and meet with them. And I think that's what was simply requested, and it hasn't been taken up. And I've been saying countless times that's what needs to happen. Otherwise, these things will continue because the message is the same in each of those instances. They're supporting the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs, and they really need the leadership, Trudeau and Horgan, to step up on this issue.
What about what we saw in Victoria as well, Judy? And I know you followed it closely. I mean, some of that behavior, the aggressive stance or the taunting, the insulting or the threatening of people trying to basically block off the provincial legislature. And we heard John Horgan very upset about that, very angry about that, about the behavior of some of the people that were there. How do you see it?
Well, I was actually on site at the parliamentary building myself on steps.
Yes.
And I seen the youth continually saying it's a peaceful protest. This is the message that we're getting out. Do not touch anyone. Do not, they were very clear about what the instructions and what they were there for. And, the messages, I did not see anything that you're talking about. I did walk around the building and the perimeters and did check for myself. So I'm accountable witness to what happened. And there were many elders and many other people that could see that. And but the chanting and the message was, again, a clear message that they're supporting the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs, and they did want, Horgan to be able to step up to the plate and do what a leader should do.
Something else, too. You were mentioning you were in Victoria. You saw what happened, of course. You're in Vancouver now. We're looking at disruptions there, the bridges, some of the ports in the lower mainland. Also on the other side of the country where we are, of course, the Via Rail lines blocked between Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal. Are you worried at all, Judy, that this cause, what these people are trying to do in northern BC, that they're going to lose support by the public as this story continues and as people's lives are being adversely affected, caught up in all of this, that you'll lose that support?
Well, I think the issue is people got to stay focused on what the real issue is. And the real issue is the lack of Trudeau and Horgan dealing with this. And they're trying to avoid it. They're trying to sidestep it. They're trying to ignore it. They need to be able to get on the phone, call the Wet'suwet'en, arrange a meeting, and talk about this nation to nation. And the premier, however, he was, saying he was up there, but he didn't go see them. They need to get on this right away, because this is, I don't know how many weeks now, happening. And all I can see on the ground, it's still continuing. It'll continue until this step happens, because the forced removal of people who have land rights in their territory is a violation of the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, which is international law. And it's also a violation in BC here. We just passed Bill 41, which recognizes self-determination and also recognizes free, prior, informed consent. And when Horgan talks about all these, the court injunction, well, the courts haven't caught up to the UN declaration, and that's law. And, we need to be able to get to this right away. And I really think both levels of leadership need to be able to act on their best way with the Wet'suwet'en and talk to them, because I think that's what the outstanding issue is. And it's not, trying to disrupt the daily lives of people. It's trying to get the immediate discussions happening with the Wet'suwet'en and the hereditary chiefs, and that needs to happen right away.
Chief Judy Wilson joining us from our studios in Vancouver. She's with the Union of BC Indian Chiefs. We always appreciate you taking time for CTV and help us walk through these stories, Judy. And again, I appreciate it today. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.